Okay, we're on topic 3.2, area and volume of pyramids. When you look at a pyramid, make sure, especially when it's drawn on a sheet of paper, that you're remembering the attributes of a pyramid. I'm going to show you one. This one's an actual pyramid. If you can see it, these edges that are going up to this vertex are called the lateral edges. So be careful when they just describe it to you and there's not a name or it's not drawn on your picture, because on this one I went ahead and put it on here. The lateral edge is the 13, and then it says the base edge is 10. So the base edge means from here to here. This one's 10, and this edge is 13. Now I colored this one red. I don't know if you can see that, but the red one is the slant height, and that's what they want you to figure out. So notice that this one, I'm going to put this back out here. If this was the edge that's called the lateral edge and it's 13, and this one right here is 10, then you're going to have to think of that slant height always hits right in the middle right here where my thumb is. So that's going to make that length only 5. Let's label that on our picture. That means this part is 5, and so is this one. That's kind of hard to look at. That looks a lot smaller than that one when you look at the picture, but that's just the drawing. It is this word right here is telling us that it's a square pyramid. So the height is hitting, the slant height does hit at the bisector, the perpendicular bisector right here. So this piece is 5. So when you want to find the slant height on this one, you're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem with one of the legs missing. So you have a 5 for a leg and a 13 for the hypotenuse. So when you work out the Pythagorean theorem, let me just do that real quick. Your a squared, 169 subtract 25 is 144. The square root of 144 is 12. So that means in the Pythagorean theorem my leg is 12, so that means that's the slant height. Your answer here is 12. Since I don't give it a unit, I'll just write units. Okay, let's review for a minute some words, some vocabulary. The lateral area. Lateral actually means the side, so it's the sum of the areas. And let's tell what they are. Of the congruent, triangular, lateral faces. Oops. That means that the 4 triangles on this one that are going around this square pyramid, when you figure out lateral area, you're figuring out the area of all 4 of those triangles. And here's your formula. 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height. Make sure you understand that this little cursive L does represent your slant height. And the P, the capital P, is the perimeter of the base, and we'll use that formula in a little bit later. Okay, let's write our definition for total area. The total area is the sum of the areas of the lateral faces and the base. And remember, different from a pyramid, prism, it only has one base. So you see the capital B here. It's whatever your lateral area is plus your base area. Now on the formula chart they write it, I just want to make sure you understand that on the formula chart it'll say 1/2 PL plus big B. This is kind of another way you're going to see it instead of LA for lateral area. But if you've already figured out the lateral area, 1/2 perimeter times slant height, you really can use that number and just add your base area, and that'll give you your total. I want to write that on here. Okay, the last definition on this page is volume. And volume is the amount of space enclosed by a 3D figure. It's actually the amount of cubic units. I'm going to write that in parentheses. It's I'm going to put the amount of cubic units to fill the shape. You're filling up something, and it's considered the volume. It's the way we measure volume. Okay, let's go to example 2. It's important to remember that it's a square pyramid, so when they only label a part of it or a piece of it, and then they, on this one, when you're pointing to the slant height, I think we just did that one. Oh, okay, we did. We're going to use what we just found out. We're going to label those. Let's see. So remember from example 1, oh no, this is a little bit different. This one, I don't really care for the way it's drawn because this isn't straight up, but I think I'll fix that. This is not a very good drawing, I apologize. This should be a right angle right here because it's the height from the center of your square pyramid. So if 13 is your slant height and then this base edge is 10, this halfway point to the center will be 5. And if this one's 5 and this one's 13, then your height here is 12. And we did that a little bit differently on the other one, but this time it's our height. Now I'm going to write H is 12 and then L is 13 so you won't mix those up. This is the height of the pyramid and this is the slant height of the pyramid. We're also going to need the base area. The base area is going to be 10 times 10, so that's 100. So we're going to use these numbers in our formula. Remember the lateral area from the page before is 1/2. Oh, let's get the perimeter too. The perimeter is when you go around this square base, so it's 10 times 4. So the perimeter on this one is 40. You know what, let's give it a unit. Let's call it centimeters. So the height is 12 centimeters, the slant height is 13, the perimeter is 13, and the base area, I'm sorry, the perimeter is 40 and the base area is 100. When you use the formula for 1/2 perimeter times slant height, you're going to put 1/2 times 40 times 13. And 1/2 times 40 times 13 is 260. And since it's area, you're doing square units. So that's your lateral area. 260 square centimeters. For total area, it's the lateral area, the 260, plus the base area. So you're going to add the area of the base, which is 100. So that's 360. Just remember, let me write that up here. It's the lateral area plus your base area. And on the formula chart, it'll say 1/2 PL plus B, but it means you're figuring out your lateral and adding your base. So it's 360 square centimeters. Volume is 1/3 the base area times the height. So when you type it in the calculator, you can either multiply the base area times height and divide by 3, or just type in 1/3. So 1/3 times the base area 100 times the height. Now this height means the height of the pyramid, not the slant height. So make sure you use 12, not 13. This is the height of the pyramid. So 1/3, 100 times 12 is 400. So that's 400 cubic centimeters. Okay, example 3. On example 3, you have a square pyramid again. We're going to find the lateral, total, and volume. This time they gave us the height of 8 and the base edge of 12. So your center point to the edge here would be half of 12, which is 6. If you do Pythagorean theorem, you're going to take your legs, 8 squared and 6 squared. 8 squared plus 6 squared, that'd be 64 plus 36, that's 100. So your hypotenuse is 10. That would be, the hypotenuse in this case is the slant height. So your slant height is 10. You know what, let's label like I did on that one before. The height is 8. And again, let's use centimeters. Your slant height, we just figured out to be 10. Your base area means the area of the base, and since it's a square, it's 12 times 12. That's 144 square centimeters. And your perimeter means to go around your square, so it's 4 times 12. So that's going to be, let's see, 48. So 48 centimeters. You know what? I think I'm going to write those formulas over here just to help you remember. Let's write that on here. Remember, the area of a square is side squared, and the perimeter of a square is 4s. We'll just put that in a little cloud over here. Just remember, and your area is your base area, so that's how I got 144. I'm taking my area and squaring it. I'm taking the side length 12 and squaring it. That's how I got 144. Alright, to figure out lateral area, now we just use our formula. It's 1/2 the perimeter times the slant height. So we're going to take 1/2 times 48. Slant height was 10. So 1/2 of 48 times 10 is 240. So that's your lateral area. To find your total surface area, you're going to take that lateral area and you're going to add one base. So it's 240 plus 144 because you're adding just one base to it. That's going to be 384. And the volume formula, just don't mix them up, just make sure you're using the right formulas. Let me move this up. The volume is 1/3 the base area times the height. So it's 1/3 times 144. Now be careful, on lateral area you use the slant height, but on volume you use the height from the center to the vertex point. So make sure you're using 8 this time and not 10. So it's 1/3 times 144 times 8. That's 384. Sometimes it happens that you get the same answer, but not always. Don't just assume that they're going to be the same, because they don't. That doesn't always end up. If you look at our example up here, that wasn't the same. Alright, let me move that back up. Now remember, sometimes I work these a little bit quicker than you can write, so you can pause and copy the notes from the pause feature on here. Let me know if you have any trouble.